their next baby. Then, after this week's crushing defeat for Democrats, DNC Chairman Tom Perez gives his political view on how to bring his party back from the dead. Plus, rapper, actor, and superstar Ice Cube reveals how he's stepping into Hollywood history. Hold on for Hot Topics with Whoopi, Sunny Hostin, Joy Behar, Sarah Haynes, and Jedediah Bila. Now, let's get things started.
Needs to remind the new guy that he already has this gig. Because apparently he was out campaigning again last night in Iowa. Iowa, whoop, whoop. Sorry.
She's an Iowa girl.
Sorry.
And here's how he addressed criticism about hiring the richest cabinet in American history. Take a look.
I love all people, rich or poor, but in those particular positions, I just don't want a poor person. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? If you insist, I'll do it. But I like it better this way, right?
As if he cares what they were going to say. If you insist, you know. What person behind him was a billionaire? Not one.
No.
I don't know what these people are thinking.
Well, I mean, okay, he says things badly often, but what I understood him to mean in this case was not rich, but successful.
What he meant?
I completely understood what he meant, because I think in the same way that if I want to get into television, we talk about this all the time, and I say, maybe I'll branch out. If I want to get into film and television, I don't go to a struggling actor for that advice. I go to Whoopi Goldberg, and not because you have money, but because you've been successful, because you've figured out how to work this crazy business. You figured out how to get to the top.
But
and I think what he was saying
but wait a
was
second.
successful people, and oftentimes success goes with money.
But he's not the one to talk. His father gave him $1 million. That's
fine.
Well, he doesn't pay his workers. He doesn't pay his taxes.
He pays them, but
he sounds like a crook to me.
But he's not talking about himself. He's talking about the fact that his cabinet has a lot of wealthy people.
Yeah, but remember do you remember when he said he was going to drain the swamp? Goldman Sachs was bad, and Wall Street was bad.
He hired the swamp.
Two people, at least 2 or 3 people in his cabinet are part of the swamp.
Yeah, well, that's a different conversation.
The context of what he was
Go ahead,
context of what he was saying was that he was surrounding himself, like, I'm going to put people in charge. But the problem with that is, kind of building off what Joy said, is like Steve Munchkin, or Munchkin?
Munchkin.
No,
what's his name?
Steve Munchkin. It's cuter as a Munchkin, but it's Mnuchin. He's the son of a wealthy, well-connected family, so he was already starting out from a different space. Trump himself, Jared Kushner, Betsy DeVos. These aren't people that, based on success alone, I wonder how many of us could have ended up in similar places if we started out with money and resources. So I just think it doesn't necessarily work that way.
I think what's really important is that he doesn't talk about people that have experience. What about the experience? I mean, if you think about people in law enforcement, you know, the average federal prosecutor makes $49,000 a year. The average FBI agent makes $49,000 a year. They are not billionaires. They are not millionaires, but they put their lives on the line every single day. And guess what? They have experience. So he should be surrounding himself with people that have experience.
I have another point here. To your point about, hold on. To your point about Whoopi Goldberg.
Yes.
Okay. Whoopi comes from the projects. Whoopi was not rich as a child.
That's right.
Her mother was a single mother, etc. So she is a self-made person. You would not go to, let's say, Jane Fonda, whose father was a famous actor. So it depends on who the successful person is.
That's not necessarily true, though, because I think I would go to someone who had been. This is a very tough business, and much like the business world out there, I think he said it badly. But I think the point of
he says everything
Mitt Romney spent.
Does he ever say anything goodly?
Well, that's true.
Or bigly?
I know. But Well, the key for me was that Mitt Romney spent an entire election apologizing for the fact that he was rich. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear him say, you know what, I'm rich and there's a lot of rich people in my cabinet and I'm going to create policies that enable you all to get to the top as well.
Rich people have experience.
But if that were the case, as we see with a lot of big business, you know, big business does not necessarily take care of your health care. Big business does not necessarily give a good God bless it, about your child care. So we see what happens when people run things like big business. Your health care disappears. Anything that has to do with realities that you have to go through in life as a worker disappear. This is the problem for me. When I don't know any gazillionaires that have put together the government. I've never seen this kind of thing before because people always say, you know, there has to be a balance of people who have and don't have to put this together so everybody understands what real people are going through. And I don't see that this is what... Even when he says, you know, I don't mind poor people, you know, but I don't know if I want, you know, that is not the way a person who is running a great company talks about their work.
Not to show how old I am, but FDR,
how old are you?
But FDR, who I dated, was a very wealthy president, very wealthy, and a patrician, aristocratic family of America. And people used to say he was a traitor to his class because he empathized with poor people. I don't see that in this cabinet. I don't see that in Donald Trump for a second.
And they make their money on the backs of poor people. Many of them.
Remember behind every great, I love this slogan, behind all great wealth is a crime, is a great crime. Remember that. I don't know if it's true 100%. I don't think it's true about Bill Gates, people like that. But behind all great wealth is great crime.
Well, you know, not everybody thinks that you have to be a gazillionaire. There's a blue-collar guy in Wisconsin who wants Paul Ryan's house seat. His name is Randy Bryce. He's an iron worker, an Army vet, and a cancer survivor whose mom has MS. And you can see his campaign online. And when we talk about taking a look, if you want to make change, I mean, we sit and we talk about stuff, but the reality is it's in our hands. So if you want to make change, you have to look for the people who are saying, here's why what's happening doesn't work. Here's what we can do. Because to just bitch about it is not going to change it. You know, it's not going to change it. You know?
Success, I just want to say, success doesn't always correlate with money. I think you had a valid point. I would have rather have seen a teacher, somebody, I didn't want Betsy DeVos. I would have rather have seen someone who had less of an income but more experience in that department. All I'm saying is that success as a term deserves some credibility. And sometimes that shows up as a rich person and sometimes that shows up as a poor person.
But there are no poor people in the cabinet.
That's what I'm saying to you. That's why the way he described this is not valid, but I think what he meant is success.
Randy Bryce is the name.
Right.
Keep an eye out for Randy Bryce and look him up. Look him up and see what's going on, and then look around your area, wherever you are, and see if there are other people who are making these steps. Because people want to tell you that it's a done deal, that it's already been decided. It hasn't been. The people have not all spoken, and you still have time. We'll be right back.
Look who's sharing the love.
I love you guys. I love the discussion.
I have so much respect for these ladies.
It's so amazing to meet you, Ms. Goldberg. It's so cool.
Everyone's buzzing about The View. Even the critics can't get enough. Killing it in its 20th season. It's The
View.
The View.
The View. Bam, drop the mic.
On ABC. DNC Chairman Tom Perez on whether Democrats can take back D.C. And Ice Cube is chilling with the ladies.
We talked about this when it happened originally, and we were going to talk about it yesterday, and we didn't get to it. But you're about to see some very disturbing footage that you may have seen on television when it first happened, so be warned. Days after Friday's not guilty verdict for the officer who shot and killed Philando Castle, new police dash cam video of the incident was released by the Minnesota Department of Public Safety. Take a look.
Reason I put George, your brake lights are out. You have your license insurance?
Sir, I have to tell you, I do have a firearm on me.
Don't reach for it then. Don't pull it out.
I'm happy to pull it out.
Don't pull it out.
Now, this is the video that the jury saw. And several questions for me come up.
Yeah.
Why put it out now? What is it meant to rile people up?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I mean, you can't put it out before the trial.
Well, they put everything else out before different trials, or is it state to state?
It's state to state, but sometimes it's inappropriate to put it out before trial. And I think, you know, not only did the...
Because it's prejudicial?
Yeah, I mean, it can affect the prospective jury pool. So you generally don't do that. And I think, you know, the prosecutor's officers released it. The Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension released it, in large part because it's a public record, and people were asking to see the evidence at trial.
But I still don't understand, because if we're seeing this happen over and over, and we talked about the officers in Staten Island, that was on television every other day. So I don't understand why why you would send this out. You know that this is volatile. You know it's a volatile situation, and you know people are going to have questions about it. Because I think to myself, he said, I should let you know because he's allowed to carry in that state.
He had a permit.
He had a permit. So,
you know what's interesting? He did not have to even tell the officer that he had a firearm or that he had the license to carry the firearm. So he did more than what was needed, what was necessary.
So if he hadn't said it.
And I got to tell you, when I saw that, and I don't want to get emotional, but you know, I worry about my kids so much, and as a mother of a black kid, I'm a black boy, I'm trying to figure out why there is no way of responding as a black man during a traffic stop that is genuinely safe.
Well, here's
no way of responding.
Part of the issue, and this is one of these things that people seem to say all the time. At trial, radio calls show that the officer said he was going to stop the car to check IDs because two occupants looked like armed robbery suspects. He said the driver looks more like one of our suspects just because of the wide set nose. So what you have to, now you know, people of color tend to have
that
wider noses.
Yes, tend to have.
The person had dreads. So you know, someone says he also said he had a grip a lot wider than a wallet. I guess his hands were spread, I feel, so that you could see he wasn't holding anything. And he says, I'm not going for the gun. And he says, don't go. And he says, I'm not. And the girl says, Diamond says, he's not going for the gun. And then it's pop, 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 pop.
He shot him 17 times, right? Seven times.
And think about it. And I know I'm going to get all the tweets. Sonny makes everything about race. Sonny's a racist. Close your eyes and imagine the occupants in that car being white. We would not be talking about this. And it's the fear of the black family. It's the fear of the black man in the car. The officer also said, well, it smelled like marijuana. Well, guess what? A lot of people, you know, there are a lot of cars that smell like that.
But they didn't find any marijuana in the car.
The thing I don't understand, which I wish someone would come out and clarify, because if they're going to release what you said, it was public record, I wish someone could come out and say, let me explain this to you. Because when you watch, what you don't understand is, I don't understand how you could come up back with anything else. And what should he have done? What law enforcement says, you know, he revealed he had a gun, he had his, like, I don't know what else he could have done.
He did more than what was required.
Why did the jury say that he was not guilty?
Obviously, the cop testified that he feared Castile was grabbing for the gun. And if you read some of it, he says, I know he had an object and it was dark, and he was pulling it out with his right hand. And as he was pulling it out, a million things started going through my head, and I thought I was going to die. So what my problem here is with police training, if you take this job, you have to know that you're going to be put in these situations where you can't jump to react. You can't, if you're the type of person that's going to get in this situation and get terrified and react.
In the back. First of all, there's a 4-year-old sitting in the damn back.
The cop.
And you know, I mean, it's crazy. And you're right. You know, and it's like, I can't remember this wonderful man who was on with us. He said, not everybody's cut out to be a policeman. This policeman...
That was David Brown. That was Chief David Brown.
This policeman has been taken off the force.
Yeah.
But the conversations have to continue, because it's only a matter of time before it's y'all. You know, or it's somebody who's Native American, or it's a Mexican person, we're all in danger of people not being prepared for the job. There are great cops out there. We need to make sure that cops are trained so that they know that they don't have to just spring into action like this.
And that they don't feel threatened in a way that makes them do that.
No, you can't be threatened just because somebody's black.
That's what I'm saying.
Just can't do it.
No, that's what I'm saying. That you have to, you have to be fit for the job.
And you know what? We're not threatened except a little bit, because if we don't go to a break, we get in trouble. We'll be right back.
What he was reaching for.
Does this week's loss prove Democrats are powerless in D.C.? How can they get voters back? DNC Chairman Tom Perez is in the hot seat next.
The new administration eked out a couple of victories this week in Georgia, and progressives have only begun to fight. So here to tell us why he thinks the Democrats are not down and out, at least not yet, is the recently elected chairman of the Democratic National Committee, Tom Perez. Tom. So, as I said, you know, Democrats have given Republicans a run for their money in places where they didn't think they would have to run so hard. Didn't get the elections, but have made gains. Where do you go from here?
Oh, I think you're spot on. You got to understand, I was disappointed Tuesday, but this was Newt Gingrich's old seat. Democrats haven't won there in 37 years. And
but there were
8 months ago,
two other seats that were lost also.
Sure, and Democrats have, all of the seats that have been in play, the congressional seats, are beat red districts.
Okay.
You know, you appoint cabinet secretaries from beat red districts so that you don't lose ground in the House. We lost the Price seat in Atlanta by 24 points in November, and we cut that margin by 20 points. The Kansas seat a few months back, we were supposed to lose that by 30. We lost it by single digits. There are 71 congressional districts right now that are more competitive than the Georgia 6 race. And we need to take 24 seats to take the House. If you look at our history, the last 3 times you've had single-party control. Sometimes it was Democrats, sometimes it was Republicans. The following midterm election, the party out of power won 28 seats. And you know, if some of you read Nate Silver, if we keep taking these margins down by 20 points like we've done, we're going to take 50 seats. But you know what? You know, history, past is not always prologue.
That's right.
So I don't come to you today saying I guarantee that. But what I do know is that I think our values are spot on. We want help. We think health care is a right for all and not a privilege for a few. And as we sit here, there's 13 men in the U.S. Senate right now who are debating the future of health care. There's this thing called essential health benefits. The Affordable Care Act mandates that you have to provide certain health benefits. The House bill strips coverage for maternity care. I don't know why I turned to you when I said that.
It's fitting, Tom. I'm pretty pissed.
Well, but you know what, Tom? Some Democrats really think that we need that there needs to be a shakeup at the top, starting with Nancy Pelosi. They want her out. And Donald Trump actually just tweeted this morning, "I certainly hope the Democrats do not force Nancy P out. That would be very bad for the Republican Party. And please let crying Chuck stay." What do you say to all of that?
Well, you know what? We're having this debate about the Affordable Care Act right now. And the person in the Congress singularly most responsible for the passage of the Affordable Care Act was Nancy Pelosi. Thank God she was leading the House of Representatives during the passage of that. She has fought her entire career for fairness, for opportunity, for everyone. And people often ask me the question, Tom, with the president not in power now, you know, who leads the Democratic Party? And you know, I think the leaders of the Democratic Party are those women who are out there on January 21st in Washington, D.C. and around the country. I think the Democratic Party, you know, I'm a grassroots guy. I learned from Barack Obama, change comes from the bottom up.
You're talking about the Affordable Care Act, though, and a lot of the reason that people cited for not voting for Hillary Clinton, people that wound up voting for Donald Trump, was because their health care premiums were going up. So if Nancy Pelosi is representative of that, doesn't that in some way hurt the party? Maybe people want to see from Democrats a willingness to revise a system that hasn't worked for many of them.
Well, actually, what's interesting now, Jedediah, is now that people actually know what the Affordable Care Act does for them, there's overwhelming support for it. Because I talked to a woman the other day who, has diabetes, and she's scared to death. She didn't know it was the Affordable Care Act that got her coverage. I talked to the parent of a triplet who spent 9 months in the hospital, a bill of $1.5 million, and they didn't have to pay it because of the Affordable Care Act. So now that people know what it is, they actually support it. Can it be improved? Absolutely. It can't be improved in secret. And we had 100 hearings in the House, in the Senate on the
You have to keep telling everybody that 23 million people are going to get thrown off. But here's my question. Because a lot of people still think that the Democrats do not have a clear message, and that Donald Trump had a slogan. He didn't have a message. He had a slogan: "Keep America great again, make it whatever." I can't even say it. It's so stupid. But and he stole it from Ronald Reagan. I'm just saying.
That's true.
But what's your message? Let's hear it in a sentence.
We're fighting to make your lives better every single day.
That's the slogan.
We're fighting to make your lives better.
That's the slogan. What's the message?
By making sure when you get access to health care, no one who works a full-time job in this country should have to live in poverty. No one who is pregnant should have to worry about whether they're going to have health care. No one who's worked 30 years should have to worry about their retirement. Our diversity has been what has always made America great, and will always make America great.
You have to talk to those people in the Rust Belt and the coal industry.
Sure.
You have to talk to those people. The Democratic Party must speak to those people. And the unions need to get strong again. But, some people say that you backed a flawed candidate, that Hillary was not a good enough candidate. I don't know if you agree with that. It's water under the bridge. I hate when they even bring her up, to tell you the truth. It's over. But who do you think can beat Trump the next time, if, God forbid, he's running again?
Yeah, that assumes he'll be there in 2020.
Yeah, well, I don't assume that. I don't assume that.
But here's the deal. Back in 1989, when George Herbert Walker Bush won, there were a lot of people saying, oh my God, there's going to be 4 terms of Republican rule. Who's going to emerge next time around? And you know what? We've got a lot of remarkable people in the Democratic Party. I go around this country, and they're governors, they're people in the Senate,
who's
people in the House.
As the candidate?
Oh,
Any names?
I think it's early right now, and again, back in 1989, people were saying, there was a lot of hand-wringing.
Yeah.
I have a lot of optimism, because you know what? When we lead with our values every single day, when we talk about good jobs that pay a good wage, when we talk about the fact that climate change is not a hoax, it is a threat to our planet. When we talk about the need to make sure that the economy is working. When I grew up in Buffalo, New York, I'm a union town.
Right.
And when we talk to union voters and say, you know what, that Supreme Court justice that just got confirmed, he's going to be the 5th vote to make it next to impossible for unions to organize.
Yeah.
We've got a president who talks about an infrastructure bill. You know what that infrastructure bill is going to do? It's going to make it next to impossible for unions to get a decent wage, because they want to have low-wage infrastructure bills. That's what Mike Pence did in Indiana. And we've got to talk about it.
You need the candidate, the voice.
We know what we have to do, and we have our eye on the prize. And what you can't do is let people talk you out of moving forward, because that's what people are trying to do. So you have to come back and play with us some more. We want to say thanks to Chairman Tom Perez. We will be right back. The valedictorian and class president of a Pennsylvania high school is going viral because he was not able to finish his graduation speech. Here's what happened. Take a look.
In addition to being a member of student council since I was a freshman, my classmates have also elected me class president the past 4 years. The lack of a real student government, combined with the authoritative attitude that a few teachers, administrators, and board members have, prevents students from truly developing as leaders. Hopefully, this will change. Hopefully, for the sake of future students, more people in this school who do not do so.
So it turns out that the authoritarian teachers he was talking about was the guy that cut the mic.
Yeah, was the principal. He did clarify that.
It's a bad message, though, that you can't get up and make critique about the school without getting it cut. I mean, that's censorship at its best.
That kid should run for office.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, and he might cut.
Schools, our secondary schools, but also college campuses, are a training ground for turning out kids that are going to participate in a democracy.
For leaders.
And their voice needs to matter. And the idea that they had voted on things and the school didn't back that up is not a good message if we want people to be involved. You can't disenfranchise them as they're young. There's no hope.
And he made it clear his intent wasn't to criticize the school. It was to make the school better positioned to give student leaders opportunity.
Even if it was to criticize the school, though, if that school is so insecure that they can't handle one of their best students getting up and telling them how to do their job better, that's a pretty big school.
You're right. And speaking of, a great teacher is very important to have. I know this, and Joy knows this, and we are blessed because Joy and I shared a teacher. I know that's shocking. He's sitting right there.
There he is.
Brett Slessor. Joy and I just wanted to say thanks. We had you at different times. I know that sounds a little sexier than we mean it to be. We had you at different times, but you were so memorable to the two of us. I didn't stick around in school. Joy did, but I don't know if I would have stuck around as long as I did had it not been for you. So thank you.
He wanted to say something.
Yo, what's up? This is Ice Cube, and I'm coming right up on The View, because today was a good day.
Tomorrow, get ready for Friday, yes, because we're serving you the hottest topics. And you know we're laughing with Kumail Nanjiani. Plus, John Quinones is about to ask you, what would you do? Whoa! Tomorrow on The View.
Rapper, actor, superstar. Look, Cube has done it all, okay? He's got a whole lot to celebrate because he's making history in Hollywood, in the studio, and on the basketball court. There's nothing he isn't doing. Please welcome Ice Cube.
Sweet. Thank you.
So, should I call you Ice or Cube?
Call me Cube.
Cube.
Call me Cube.
Cube.
Yeah.
So, I just saw you on the Bill Maher show, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah,
and you were really giving him some hell about the use of the N-word. And I'd like you to watch a clip so that people know what we're talking about.
Okay. It's a word that has been used against us. It's like a knife, man. And you can use it as a weapon or you can use it as a tool. It's been used as a weapon against us by white people. And we're not going to let that happen again by nobody because it's not cool.
Well, I have to say, I agree with you. As a white person, I agree with that because I don't think it should be used by white people. You use it in your music, though.
Yeah.
Is that okay? So some people they can't explain it.
Well, I mean, music is music, Arnold Schwarzenegger kills people in his movies, but that don't make it okay to do it in real life. So, music is music. But in casual conversation, it's just not cool. I think people know their boundaries. They just get a little too familiar, and you have to just remind them where your boundaries are,
Right. And not to get so familiar.
Not to get so familiar.
There you go. Yeah. Well, you're celebrating the 25th anniversary of your album, Death Certificate. And you released it in 1991. I remember it because it was that racially charged time in L.A. We had Rodney King, right before the L.A. riots, right before the O.J. trial. Do you think that our climate has changed?
I mean, you saw the video.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same, you know. I mean, what has changed, you know, before NWA and before that record, police were not scrutinized at all too much. It was just kind of whatever they say went. So at least we're getting to a point where their behavior is being questioned. Now we just got to get, you know, proper convictions at the proper time.
But why doesn't that happen, do you think? We were just talking about why would the jury that saw that tape not convict that cop?
Well, you never know. You know, you never know what's going through a jury's head. Sometimes they're fed the information in a way that when they're given the parameters of what you can convict, what you can't, you know, sometimes the law has a lot of trickiness to it, and you can't convict if you're following the letter of the law. But common sense sometimes should supersede that, and it doesn't. But at least we're getting them on trial, so that's a start. You know, now it's time to get some convictions.
It's interesting because you're re-releasing the album with 3 new songs, and one of those songs is called "Good Cop, Bad Cop."
Yeah.
Why did you write that song?
Well, you know, with NWA, we had a song, and it was pretty much like a revenge fantasy. So with this approach, this is more appealing to good cops. You know, this is a song saying, hey, you guys are our last line of defense, and we support you if you step up and get some of these bad apples out the bunch. And, you know, so it's really a message to the good cops.
And last week, you received a huge honor.
Yeah.
You got a Hollywood star on the Walk of Fame.
Yes.
Now, you grew up in L.A., so had you ever gone there? Because I know sometimes when you live in the city, you don't see the tourist spots. Had you ever been, like, that?
You know, I got bused, you know, to a school outside the hood. So when I used to miss my bus, we would have to catch the regular transportation, and we would transfer in Hollywood. So I would get off the bus and walk through Hollywood, rush through Hollywood, trying to catch my next bus, and I would see all the stars down there, with never thinking a million years that I would ever get down there. So just cool.
So you're new 3-on-3 basketball league.
Yes. I need you down there in Brooklyn this Sunday. Okay, all right.
I'm coming. You know, look, I'm coming to play. Anyway, there it is.
Big 3.
Big 3 starts this weekend.
Yes.
Tell the people what they need to know.
It's professional 3-on-3 basketball. You know, we've all grew up playing it, you know, as kids. Like, you know, that's the easiest game you can get is 3-on-3. So I just wanted to take it off the blacktop, bring it into the arena. We're using former NBA players like Allen Iverson and Kenyon Martin and Jason Williams, White Chocolate, so it's great. And what's cool is these guys, what they said to me is like, man, my kids were little when I was in the league, so now they get to see me play. They get to see me, you know, get down in front of all these people. So the players are very excited. We're excited. You know, if you go down to the box office, it's great because one ticket will get you 4 games. You can't beat that.
That's awesome.
Wow, that's
Kids under 13 get in free if they show up to the box office with a paying adult. So it's just, you know, it's a great thing to do this summer.
family. That's great.
For sure.
Now, you know we're basketball fanatics.
Yes.
So are you the guy who sits courtside and yells at the refs?
Yeah. You know, I like it. I like being part of I'm a real fan. You know, when I fan out, you know, my wife, I drive her crazy because, you know, when the game's on, you know, I start off happy, but by the end of the game, it's just a bad day. So,
You know.
But, you know, this is going to be fun. It's going to be fun just to see some of these guys that we saw coming up through high school, college, and through the pros. Then they disappear. You don't know where they are. And these guys are still ballers. They still can play. And
I love this idea, and I hope at some point you will allow me to finally coach again.
Coach Whoopi.
I was a very good coach for Eddie, if you've not ever seen that movie. So I'm working this, okay? I'm working. Listen, man, you are always welcome here because it's such an honor to have you, because what you've done is you've shown that you can start out here, but you grow and you get better and you get smarter and you diversify, and that's important for young people to see. Not just young people, but for young people to see that diversification is possible.
Without a doubt, you know. Just put your mind to it.
That's it. Thanks to Hugh. Re-release of his album, Death Certificate, is available now. Check out the Big Three Basketball on Fox Sports 1 on Monday, June 26th. And we will be right back.
Your entire beach reading list is at Talbots, who are sharing the love of reading with their summer book club. All you have to do is drop off a book you love at your local Talbots, then fill out a book plate about why it's a must-read. Then don't forget to pick up another book that someone else is raving about. Thousands of books will be shared and exchanged all summer long. And great news, thanks to Talbots, members of our audience are getting a $75 Talbots gift card and the book Secrets in Summer.